you're getting enough sleep, and maybe you're getting enough balance of mental stimulus and rejuvenation, but you're still feeling like overwhelmed and burned out, then maybe it's sensory that you're not getting enough rest from.
Hi, welcome to the Judy Terrell Show, where I explore topics intended to optimize every body 50, 60, 70, and above.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. If you are joining me on this video, then you are in my third episode of my 6-part series on chronic fatigue, feeling overwhelmed and burnt out and just exhausted all the time, and what can you do about it so that you can get more rejuvenation and feel better in your day. All right, so welcome everybody. I have covered 2 types of rest of 6 types of rest that we all need. And many of us think that we just need physical rest and sleep. And if we get that, we should feel great and maybe are getting that rest, or that type of rest, the sleep, physical rest, and yet still are feeling very burnt out and very exhausted and tired all the time. And what I'm covering now is the 5 other types of rest that we need. And this is episode number 3. And I covered physical rest, mental rest, in the first 2 episodes. If you haven't watched them, go back. They're not very long. But they're going to be informative. And then the third one that I'm addressing right now is sensory rest. All right. Like I said with mental, in my second one, mental rest, we are living in a time of human history that is unprecedented. And what I mean by that is the sheer sensory information coming at us within every 24 hours is astronomically higher than at any other point in human history. Why? Because of our devices and because of the internet. We are connected now, and there's a lot of positives to that, but there's a sensory piece that there's absolutely no break from that now. We are constantly, looking at screens. We are now bombarded by lights, our noises in our everyday life, the kineticness of our culture, and even just music. I'm 61 years old. I remember music had complexity to it, but when I listen to music now, I feel like there's too much stimulation. There's so much background, different rhythms and different beats and different, techno pieces added in. And it's overwhelming. Not just for a 61-year-old or older, but in general, we are just taking in huge amounts of incessant, consistent sensory information. And I'm going to tell you that in my work with clients, somebody might be getting enough sleep, physical sleep, and that's the physical rest, the first realm, but they're not getting breaks from the sensory stimulus, and that is causing them to feel burnt out and exhausted. And so we have to have some techniques for, managing the sensory input that we are taking in 24/7. And so that is what I'm going to give you now. What are some really easy, applicable any time of a 24-hour cycle, practices that you can institute if you recognize from just this video maybe that you are somebody that gets too much of that, stimulation, and you're maybe extra susceptible to that, more so than somebody else, right? Some people can handle a lot more noise and, sensory information coming in from the 5 senses of the physical body. And some people like to have a lower tolerance to begin with and are still have to live in this very sensory stimulating, culture. I'm one of those. I too much noise, distract me from my ability to mentally concentrate, for instance. So what are some methods that we can do to, better manage the sensory inputs and take little breaks from them so that we can then not be overwhelmed by them, right? So the easiest one that I tell people to do is what I call sensory deprivation. And it does involve getting earplugs, real cheap, Amazon, and like an eye mask. And, I've recommended that to help your sleep in episode number 1 on the series, but I'm going to recommend that you keep them in your desk area or in your car. All right. So if you're somebody who's still in the workforce and you're coming off your day job and now you have to go home and maybe do some elder care, or you still have children or grandchildren, or just, household things for yourself that you have to, take on your second job.
Your Second 50.life is my virtual platform that is designed for both men and women over 50 and 60, 70, and 80. And it includes pre-recorded video information on exercise and how to do it whether you're fit and in good health or if you have bad knees, bad shoulders, a bad back, whatever. It includes information on how to eat for weight management and how to eat for health management. It includes information on the psychology of aging and what do we need to do in our heads, because let's face it, this aging thing is not for the faint of heart. So your Second 50 Life is a virtual platform of resources that you can access at your own leisure, but it also includes 2 times a month live video coaching with me so that you can bring your own individual questions and get individual coaching as well as have access to all the information on the pre-recorded videos. So please check it out because we're all in this together and we got this.
There's constant stimulation, sensory information coming in. We might need a little break from that. So when you get in your car, I tell people either sit in your driveway when you get home or maybe go to a parking lot, put the seat back, put your earplugs in, put your eye mask on, and just take 2 minutes. It doesn't have to be very long, and just take out those stimuluses from the sensory input and just focus on your breath. Or you can even just focus on your thinking, but what you're doing here is you're getting a break from the sensory inputs. And if you're extra sensitive to that, taking 2 minutes in between going from one sensory input cluster at work to another one like home might be just the thing to give you that little rejuvenation for you to be able to tolerate all the noise and all the sensory inputs that are going to be coming in for the next thing that you're going to. That is pricelessly valuable. Now, doing it once isn't going to really provide you with what the rejuvenation that we're after, the rest, the sensory rest we're after. But if you try it and you notice that it does, help you to then take on the next, hour of your day, then I'm going to invite you to then make this practice be consistent. Schedule maybe 2 times a day where you're taking these 2-minute breaks from the sensory stimulus. And if you don't have the eye mask, just close your eyes. If you don't have the earplugs, just put the windows up in the car if you're doing this in the car. You can be in your house and then just go into a back room or, a porch or your bedroom or somewhere where you're away from the rest of the stimulus to get this sensory, reduction or deprivation. And, I'm telling you, it is a practice that if taken on and you are somebody who's not getting enough of the sensory rest and rejuvenation that you need, this can be, life-changing, and it's not very complex, right? All right, so sensory, if you are noticing that you're not getting enough sensory rest and you're somebody who needs it, then the practice I just gave you is one that I'm giving you as a tool in this video, but there are many others, and you can do a little research. But if you're getting enough sleep and maybe you're getting enough balance of mental stimulus and rejuvenation, but you're still feeling like overwhelmed and burned out, then maybe it's sensory that you're not getting enough rest from. And you can take on the sensory deprivation or minimize sensory input at certain points of your day consistently, not for long, a minute or two, and see if that doesn't help you to feel more energized and more balanced and less, overwhelmed and fatigued in your day. All right, everybody, this is episode number 3. So we've covered physical, mental, and now sensory rest. There's 3 others. Stay tuned for the other 3. They might be game changers for you. All right, everybody, we've got this rest thing, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. And if you'd like to have access to some of my additional resources, I can be found at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and on my website, www.judyterrell.com.